almost sound like it.
Recording in progress.
Alright, we're here today for the regularly scheduled meeting of the Hill County Commissioners Court, 10th day of February 2026, 8:30 a.m. in the Hill County Courtroom. We do have a quorum present. Pastor, if you lead the prayer.
Heavenly Father, Lord God, we thank you for this opportunity to serve you. Father, we thank you for an opportunity to come into this courtroom and be able to do business for this county. Lord, we pray that you would provide in a way like no other before, Father, that it would just be an amazing time in this community, that we would just come together to serve you and in this community. Lord God, we need you so much for everything. We thank you for all you do, all you're going to do. We just give you the glory for it. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
Call it pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
How are you, sir?
Nice day, as you know, excited last night. I'm sure Mr. Jackson will opine on that here a little bit. Still on his thing. We're working on the road, still repairing after the ice, and just trying to catch up.
Well, after the ice storm we had, that we tried to blade a few roads, but they already had them so hard packed that you couldn't hardly cut them anymore. But then yesterday we changed a couple of culverts out and back to hauling the rock again, trying to beat the road back up.
Pretty much the same thing, the road got hard quick, so you saw here that after that ice storm, it just turned to mush in a few days, it was concrete. So we're trying to blade those, clean them up a little bit, all the way along, get them back to where they were anyway.
Just trying to get a few things done. We did put in a 50 by 60 culvert yesterday, so that took a while also. They got the road fixed up. Now if they run off of it, I have no problem.
Philip?
Yes, sir. We've got quite a bit going on in IT right now. We've got looking at some camera upgrades for this courtroom and the county court of law courtroom, similar to the new camera that we got at the courtroom. So we got a vendor coming out today to start looking at some of that, what that's going to take. Next week, we should have a vendor come out to the sheriff's office to install the new Spillman hardware to upgrade to the new system. So they're going to physically install it, hook everything up, get it up and running, and prepare for the upgrade. Got some laptops for JP1 and for Ms. Beebe, the new auditor. Sorry, appreciate it. Working on the access control policy for our key cards. You've seen that, Judge. Working on landline cleanup, as we mentioned before. All the landline spot signs are scheduled to go away in July for Hill County. So we're working on that. Moving as many of those as we can over to our voice system. And we have tomorrow morning, we have folks from Environmatics coming out, of course, with Mr. Dawson, to coordinate those folks to come out to try to get connectivity, work on some connectivity over at Agri-Line in the jail for controlling the HVAC systems.
Development services?
Business as usual. Friday, with the help of the auditor's office, we got our permanent chime master system in for the courthouse, so that should last as long as anybody here, I hope. If you get any complaints on the noise, let me know, but other than that, it looks like a good
No, it's been busy, between the fires, the crashes, trainings, meetings, everything else in the last 2 weeks. We finished up one part of the dispatch project, about starting to another with the backup radios, hopefully soon. Otherwise, I can say business as usual, but business as usual. The fires are still very much an issue. All the topsoil fuel is still there, it's very dry somewhere. I'm sure the judge will decide to move on what he did.
Derek?
Yeah, everything's good. We have, several new hires that came on board this past couple weeks. New patrol lieutenant over the patrol division, Lieutenant Bourne's retired from Hillsborough PD, came over and joined our team. So we're happy to have him. Also have another investigator that came over from Hillsborough, and, one from West Texas that has moved back to be closer to his children and grandchildren. Has a long history of law enforcement, very well respected in his community over there. So we're happy to have him on board. Only have a few more openings, so we're getting filled up the way we need to be, so pretty excited. Other than that, I think it's pretty good.
Well, Susan, Ms. Phoebe, I don't know which one to call.
Just doing reporting, getting ready for, I guess, our audit. We do a lot of lead schedules for the auditors, and we're working on getting those ready. And I think our audit's supposed to start in April, so.
Mr. Holmes?
I don't have a number
Yes.
Subwalk Museum,
Give me just a second, I'll get you. For my office, we, obviously, we were out of the fire yesterday afternoon and evening. It was a rather large fire that got out of control. It started out with a patrol burn, and then didn't end that way. As a result of the 8 or 9 fire calls we had just yesterday alone, we did sign a disaster declaration, enforcing the burn ban for the next 7 days. We will be discussing further on putting in a 30-day burn ban. There's some logistics behind that, because I know most of us are going to be in various places training, so we're going to discuss that. As Mr. Cross said, we did get new bells installed in the tower. They are supposed to last a very long time, and they're much easier to use than the 8-track that we have. Got a couple other irons in the fire, but nothing just earth shattering. So, we'll go ahead and move on to open forum. Anybody here for open forum? Yes, sir.
just an update, the Commissioner's Court.
If you'll step up to the podium, sir.
Yeah. Just an update on the Satellite Museum, as Vice President Emerson, Vice President of the Satellite Museum. So I was authorized at our meeting last night to come and share with y'all. First of all, we thank you for the support to get the foundation fixed a couple years ago. The problem now is, we believe, with James Spiner, he president, cut up in, I didn't know there was an attic you could get in. He found a gap about 2 inches between the wall and the roof and the ceiling in the attic. So the water is running down one of the interior walls all the way through. So we'll let y'all know, because that is y'all's building, so we don't know if there's somebody that, y'all like to send out to look at it and make a plan of attack, to make sure we don't tear up the foundation that y'all got fixed, and then the building's got a problem due to a leak in there. Also, we have finally got the information of the exact details from the insurance from last spring's storm. So we're beginning to look at trying to get somebody to address all the repairs that, now we know exactly 6 shingles here, 1 window there, and a door facing or whatever. So we're working on addressing all of that. Again, we want to thank y'all for y'all's support of getting the building open last year. We were glad that we were able to open it last spring and through the summer. We're looking forward to getting it open again this year, and invite everybody to come on out. And we're always looking for hosts. So if y'all know someone that has an interest in history, that would like to come and be someone to be there on a Saturday to take people through and say, here's whatever and here's whatever. We're always looking for volunteers to help with that on Saturday morning. And then also mentioned if somebody's got a little bit of gravel, because we have some water leaking in our storage building where we put the stuff that's not on display, and there was water running across the floor, standing 2 inches deep inside the building once it got in. So James Payne got out with the tiller, tilled all that down, drug the dirt back, but we'd like a little bit of gravel so it doesn't become a, washout ditch through there. So if you're gonna have some snow will come out and rob it, we'll get out there with shovels and put it where it needs to go. But anyway, thank y'all for your support.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else here for open forum? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Amy Teal, 1127 East Jefferson in Whitney. I wanted to publicly announce and invite people to the all candidate forum that we're having tonight, just a meet and greet. All candidates are invited. We've had some RSVPs from folks outside the county. Some of our lesser known gubernatorial candidates that are looking for a chance at the mic. But it is a very informal thing. So if you know any candidates that have not had something planned tonight or had something fall through tonight, they're welcome to swing by. At 6:45, we'll hit the go live button and candidates can parade around and just give a, at least a 2-minute spiel. If we have fewer candidates, you get more time. So it is designed to be pretty informal, very accommodating to candidates and their schedules. And it's an opportunity to check out our little Lake Whitney Public Library. That's where it is. It starts at 6:30. Candidates will speak at 6:45. Tables will be set up for meet and greets. We've had some RSVPs, but an RSVP is not required. And we're going to have candidates from all over, so the public is welcome to come from all over. And I would also like to encourage folks to utilize your library meeting rooms a little bit more. That helps your library's numbers for grants and funding.
Anybody else for open forum? Anybody online? Online? All right. So we'll go ahead and move on into the consent agenda. This is the action on minutes, invoices, payroll, monthly report for revenue disbursements, and reserve and overflow elected officials training. I have a motion from Mr. Holcomb, a second from Mr. Hawkins. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Carried.
The way they're presenting those, I'm not too fond of it. You have to look all over the place to find our expenses. Scotty said.
Oh, on invoices?
Yes.
Okay. I had minutes in my hand.
Okay. No, it used to be so much easier because everything was grouped. You didn't have to look through everybody's stuff. Let me get the shit of all these people.
While those are going around, we'll go ahead and move on to report order number 1, discuss interaction on employee wage or status changes. We've had 6 wage changes: Robert White, Michael Norman, Tiffany Davis, and Kimberly Sanders, Joseph Penny, and Beth Gary. 2 separations: Zoe Marsh and Katie Tanner, and 2 new hires: Peyton Collins and Richard Ingalls.
Make a motion for it.
A motion from Commissioner Crumpton, second from Commissioner Lake. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 2, discuss interaction on bonds. This approval for bonds will be for Hill County Commissioner Precinct 4, Brian Lake, Hill County Auditor, Susan Swilling, Hill County Constable, Larry Armstrong, and Probation Office, Pat.
Make a motion for the bonds.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Hawkins, second from Commissioner Lake. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 3, observe and or record Hill County CPS Board Treasury Report for January 2026. This was supplied in the packet.
Make a motion to serve before CPS board treasurer.
Motion from Commissioner Hawkins, second from Commissioner Crumpton. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 4, observe and record monthly bank balances for January 2026.
Make a motion to record the monthly balances for January 26.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Holcomb, second from Commissioner Hawkins. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 5, observe and record Texas Class 2026 investment policy knowledge.
Make a motion to observe and record Texas Class 2026 investment policy.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Hawkins, Commissioner Holcomb, second from Commissioner Hawkins. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Number 6, observing a record tax abatement compliance letter from L1 Fitz Udic Solar LLC.
I have a question regarding that. So, is there a process in place for the county to verify that they're in compliance, other than they just send us a letter and say, okay, we did it all? But I don't know of a process in place where we go back and we audit the fact that
We
they
have the
are.
right to audit under the contract.
So
Under the agreement, we have the right to audit the records and operations.
Okay, why would we unilaterally sign off on something that we haven't looked at?
Well, we're taking good faith that they're doing it, but the reality is, it's just to, it's to make them make a representation each year. And if the representation is false, that can be a grounds for terminating the contract.
How do we know that the representation was false?
If we see from their, for example, if it's a, investment type, see when they turn in their, certification, a lot of times at the end, they have to turn in their certification of their actual investment. So that's how we know whether they actually invested the amount. You can ask for all the backup documentation, stuff like that. But, as to employees, we can always ask during the time for the personnel, for the payroll records. But do we do that all the time? No. Normally, they are staying within the letter of the contract. But we'll, we
I'm
can.
not trying to create work for the county, because we got plenty of it, but it doesn't make any sense to me to sign off on something that we hadn't verified.
Who is responsible for conducting an audit like that?
Well, it'd be also not blessing this, you're observing and recording what they sent us. So it's not like you're saying, we're all good. They sent their letter, you're observing and recording.
Observing that they're submitting.
And like I said, we want us to turn that in so that we have representation on the record. If we find out later that that representation is false, that's a grounds for termination of contract.
So you have a piece of paper, you get a paper trail as a follow.
Right.
Do you think it would be worth looking into conducting an audit on some of them and making sure that they are?
Well, if we did, at least they'd know that we're paying attention rather than just sweeping it under the rug and hoping that we don't look. It's not like this is the only one out there.
I make a motion to adjourn the court.
Okay.
Motion from Commissioner Hopkins, and second from Commissioner Lake, to observe and record tax payment compliance letter from anyone hits Union Solar LLC. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. And next one is number 7, observe and record tax payment compliance letter for anyone hits Solar 2.
Make a motion to adjourn the court.
Motion to observe and record the compliance letter from Commissioner Hopkins. Second from Commissioner Lake. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 8, observe and record proclamation for Wesley Clark Dodson Day.
May I speak to this, sir?
Yeah, I would like you to please come on, please.
Jack Katz. I'm Edward Small, representing the Hill County Historical Commission as the chair for this year. Mr. Dodson Day, as the proclamation suggests, will be for next Tuesday. And the reason this date has been chosen to honor him, his great-granddaughter will be here in the courtroom upstairs at 2 o'clock on February the 17th to make a presentation. So we would like to invite and encourage anybody in the public, everybody, to show up at 2 o'clock. Anybody that works in the courthouse, we would like to encourage their supervisors to allow them to take an extended lunch break and come up and see the history. If you ever look at courthouses in Texas, they kind of look similar, there's a reason. Because this guy designed a ton of Texas courthouses. This is one of the few that, thankfully to the committee of people years ago that rebuilt it. Many of the courthouses, they decided, forget it, we're gonna go with something new and modern and just bulldoze down the remains after a fire. So our county was one of the few that selected to go through the trouble, the problem, the fundraising, and Willie Nelson helped and all of everybody else to rebuild this very building that we're in. I didn't have a clue who this guy was, didn't care who this guy was, but after I started reading the book, it's a very interesting story. So this lady will be here at 2 o'clock upstairs, and we'll have some books to purchase that she has written. They're very nice, big, colorful books you can put on there, coffee table kind of stuff, but she'll be here to autograph those books. Her schedule that day, if anyone's in the Lions Club, she'll be there for noon, and we're trying to make sure it's a separate, different presentation that she'll make upstairs in this building at 2. So, Judge Lewis has reserved his courtroom from 2 until 3:30, so she can meet and greet and talk. And then at 5 o'clock, she'll be at the library being hosted for a reception down there. So, I would encourage you to please approve this declaration. Thank you.
Thank you. Proclamation is as follows. Whereas Wesley Clark Dodson was a prominent Texas architect whose work helped shape the civic and architectural identity of communities across the state of Texas during the late 19th and early 20th century. And whereas Wesley Clark Dodson is credited with the design of approximately 15 courthouses, many of which remain standing today as enduring symbols of local government, public service, and architectural craftsmanship. And whereas among his most significant contributions is the Hill County Courthouse in Hillsborough, Texas, a landmark structure that has served the citizens of Hill County for generations and stands as a testament to Dodson's mastery of courthouse design, functional planning, and monumental civic architecture. And whereas Wesley Clark Dodson also designed the Hill County Jail, now known as the Hill County Cell Block Museum, an important historic structure in Hillsborough that preserves the county's legal and social history and reflects Dodson's attention to durability, security, and institutional design. And whereas the architectural legacy of Wesley Clark Dodson extends beyond individual buildings, contributing to the broader historical and cultural heritage of Texas through public structures that continue to serve, educate, and inspire. And whereas Hill County is honored to welcome Mary Helen Dodson, author and granddaughter of Wesley Clark Dodson, whose visits highlight the continued relevance of his life's work and the enduring connection between family history and public history. Now therefore be it proclaimed that the Hill County Commissioners Report of Hill County, Texas, does hereby designate Tuesday, February 17th, 2026, as Wesley Clark Dodson Day in Hill County, Texas, and encourages all citizens to recognize and celebrate the architectural, historical, and civic contributions of Wesley Clark Dodson and his lasting impact on Hill County and the state of Texas.
Sounds like a new Hill County holiday.
Make the motion to observe the report.
A motion to observe and record the proclamation for Wesley Clark Dodson Day from Commissioner Crumpton, and second from Commissioner Holcomb. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Number 9, discuss interaction on correcting the budget amendment due to a scrivener's error. Ms. Susan, can you speak on this?
Yes, we brought the budget amendments at the last meeting. We, inadvertently listed the bailiff capital outlay instead of the sheriff capital outlay line where we had, done all that encumbering for the police, the sheriff vehicles and the upfit and all that. And on the budget amendment, we did it in Excel and we used 3101, 4101 instead of 3102, 4101. So it was just an error, but I wanted to get that corrected for the record.
A motion to observe, to correct budget amendment due to a scrivener's error from Commissioner Hawkins. And then the second from Commissioner Crumpton. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 10, discuss interaction on ESD 2 applying for a rural ambulance service grant program. I guess I'll speak to this one. I don't see any representatives from ESD 2 in the room. So, we had a discussion with ESD 2 about applying for this rural ambulance service grant program. And they did not intend to apply for it. And they came to me last minute, 2 weeks ago, a week ago, and said they really want to apply for it. Yes, I guess they got some education on it, and they thought that it could serve the citizens, potentially get another ambulance in the county operation, which can't be bad. So what I'm requesting on this one, just approving that they can apply for the grant program.
And the way the legislation's written, the county judge has to apply for the grant, even though, and then you all decide what agency that, if we are awarded an ambulance, you'll designate the agency to which it will be awarded.
Motion to
Second. Motion and a second. Motion from Commissioner Hawkins, second from Commissioner Crumpton. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right. Number 11, discuss interaction on appointing Theo Boyd, Warren Borough, Lindsay Peterson, and Brenda Harkins to the Hill County CPS. Are they here today?
One of them.
One of them?
Warren Borough is here today.
We sure appreciate folks like you doing work.
And this is his borough.
We do appreciate folks like you volunteering for us sometimes thinking this job. So thank you very much. All in
We
favor?
appreciate your support and everything that you do, including helping us find a new annex space since you took ours.
Didn't take it yet.
Okay, since you're considering.
Yeah, but no, we really do appreciate you guys and the work you do. I don't think anybody realizes, the hours that it takes, and they're not generally 8 to 5.
No,
So we.
particularly for the caseworkers and everything, so yes.
So I'll make
I'll make a motion to Phil Boyd, Robert Barlow, Lindsey Peterson, and Brenda Harkins to the Hill County CPS.
I have a motion from Mr. Holcomb, a second from Mr. Hawkins. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Number 12, discuss interactions, declare end of life computers, monitors, printers, and other miscellaneous equipment, establish surplus equipment for the Hill County Information Technology Department. Mr. Cantrell?
Gentlemen, this is another iteration of the same thing, where we've got some end-of-life computers and printers and so forth that we've taken out of service. We've removed all hard drives, destroyed them when applicable, and we just need to kind of get this out of here.
So did that get you down to bare minimum? Are you done with the salvage?
No, sir, this is all.
Kind of perpetual.
Yes, sir, it's a perpetual, as, we have a schedule where systems that are under warranty, and as they fall out of warranty, then we put them on a replacement schedule, and so all that old equipment gets processed through.
I gave him 2 laptops this past week that were in the county attorney's office when I started in 2006.
Great example, thank you. I get it.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Motion from Commissioner Hawkins, second from Commissioner Cummings. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. And the follow-up on that is, discuss interaction to sell this surplus equipment with the Hill County Technology Department.
And we would like to use Frank's mowers.
Motion.
Motion
Sell,
and a second.
the salt and
Motion from Commissioner Hawkins to sell salvage equipment from Hill County Information Technology Department to Frank for second. Second from Commissioner Holcomb. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, discuss interaction on setting a public hearing to install traffic control devices in the form of a 30 mile per hour speed limit sign on Hill County Road 1211.
wish I could make it 15, but all they will let me do is 30. Yeah, there's a long stretch, coming off of 1207 going towards 933. It's just a drag strip, and there's kids playing out there, grandkids, and we need to slow that down. So, I would like to set that for the, we had time to set for the last meeting through February 4th. I don't think we did, I don't think we had enough time. March 10th.
Yes.
Set that for March 10th.
You know, setting these speed limits is great, but people to obey them.
Gotta enforce it.
Another answer, and I know the sheriff department don't have time to set out on the county roads and try to monitor some of these.
Okay, we're gonna deputize you.
Okay, give me a radar. Give me a radar.
Okay, so
But, you know, it's great to have a speed limit out there, but a lot of people don't even look at it. And they ignore it. But I wish they would, because it's dangerous on some of our county roads, are not as wide as this table. And we got hills and curves that are blind, it's a serious problem.
Well, if they are posted, the upside of it, if they are posted and you know, we can use the sheriff's new app to push that out that we recently posted, whatever road it is. And, you know, if the deputy's just out there passing by and happens to sit there for a little bit and somebody sees them, then they're gonna know that we're at least serious about putting them out there. I don't know if he is.
Anytime from about 7:30 to 8:30.
Yeah.
Whenever everybody's.
Yeah, when they're coming and going.
I see your point, Commissioner, but if you do approve this and post these speed limit signs, it now gives us some teeth. We start getting complaints on that road to enforce that posted speed limit instead of a prima facie. So,
21, 24.
so if you do that, it does allow us to enforce the posted speed limit that is visibly posted on the road, so I think it helps in a way.
And I think the new operations lieutenant sitting back there is taking notes right there.
I love that.
They can't write tickets for it until there are signs on the road that say it's 30 miles an hour. With the statute.
Otherwise, it's 60.
Well, presumably, yeah.
I make a motion to set a public hearing to install traffic control devices in the form of 35 speed limit signs. 15 mile. 30 mile speed limit signs along HCR 1211.
Hearing will be set for March 10th, 2026. Who's gonna do what? Who's gonna do paper? Okay. I have a motion. And a second. Commissioner Hubbard. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. March. Number 15, discuss interaction on the extension of the licensing agreement with Digital for a trial AI road conditioning monitoring software.
So this kind of came to me out of the clear earlier, and I did a little research on it. I've been talking back and forth today, that I've been going through the licensing agreement and made some changes. This is an AI-based, digital software that analyzes roads. And when you download the app, and this is just a trial version, so I've got 3 licenses. It'll record up to 300 miles of road, and I can ask it for road condition and assessment on 48 miles during the trial period. So the 3 licenses, you put it on the phone, you attach it to your truck. It's kind of like the beginning of a road survey for a solar farm rim operation. And we could establish those, we could use this for that if we needed to. But what it does is it comes back, you take our base map, digital, load it into this software. Philip and I have a lot of interface to do to make this thing work. But then it uploads the road conditions, it puts it on the map, and it tells you that it can differentiate between deteriorating asphalt, potholes, asphalt that's getting ready to separate. It don't ask me how this thing works. That's why we're doing this trial. Proposing to do this trial to see if it works.
Burn it up the first week.
Well, the trial period, yeah, we'll have to see specific roads just to see if it works.
Monitor it.
Yeah, and then if it does, then you can take that information and it uploads all of it with the GPS coordinates on places that need attention into our OpenGov card system. So if you want to prioritize that, you know, we've got, this road's gonna need to be chip sealed, and it'll analyze how long it's got to fail to the point of failure with the traffic, flow. So, really, if it does, it's pretty amazing. It's being used, internationally right now. The only place in the United States that uses it is Denver, Colorado. They use it for all their infrastructure.
What is the cost?
Well, right, the trial cost is nothing. It's sprayed up to a point, and then the breakdown is, I think it's up to, if you wanted to go, there's different levels, you know, depending on what you want to get to tell you to do. There's a lot of fluff in there, I just want you guys to have all this information, with the breakdown and all of the costs is here.
Why do you need a machine to tell you what needs to be done when you can drive the road?
Well, this captures it, so you don't have to take time to write it down. Just drive the road, and you can split your guys up and have them drive the road and compile all that data at one time. Instead of driving the road every day, every week, or whatever. That's a lot of miles to cover, and, you know, for one guy, took one day a week. Yes, sir.
If I understand it's a trial, I'm just saying that data would be, I can't explain how beneficial it would be the moment your roads are destroyed in a disaster, when you can go back and show data to the pinpoint GPS.
To family.
And any pictures or video that it captures or 3D models it can render. That's game changing when it comes to the FEMA reimbursement process for road damage and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Well, I think this is a good step, to changing the way we're thinking about our roads. I think there's a change needed. I feel like we need almost the equivalent of renting our roads, where we dump gravel, wash it, wash away, dump more gravel, wash away. Repeat. Feels like we're pouring rent money into a house that you get no equity on. And so, I think we'll be having some more discussions here in the near future about changing how we're looking at our county roads. I think running a pilot program on this, and I appreciate you doing it, could give us some data on maybe road classifications on our county roads, or maintenance schedules, being able to budget better for improvements, long-term improvements, not short-term ones. And we all know in all of your precincts, there's roads that are just a problem. Yeah. I'm not talking about those specifically. I'm talking about, especially the first, maybe our higher use roads. Maybe get some traffic studies done to see which roads we need to concentrate on first and move forward. None of this program nor anything that we present, as we covered this issue, that none of them will fix our county roads tomorrow.
No, it's a
But
lot of time.
I do think taking steps to change how we're thinking about it is a good start. Anyway, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion. Second. To enter into this license agreement with AI Road Commission monitoring software.
Motion from Commissioner Holden, second from Commissioner Hawkins. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. All right, number 16, enter into a public hearing on the matter of the proposed designation of a certain property in unincorporated Hill County as a reinvestment zone under subchapter C, chapter 312 of the Texas Property Tax Code. This designation would allow for tax abatement agreements to be entered into by the county with owners of property within the reinvestment zone. The zone would be designated as a reinvestment zone number 21, data center property.
Judge, Commissioners, just to get it kicked off and give you a little bit of background. This is purely about acting on the reinvestment zone today. It's not approving a tax abatement or anything like that. The reinvestment zone is approximately 1,550 acres near Hubbard. It would be the location of the data center or data centers and an associated power plant. The data centers may be made up of 4 buildings $10 billion of estimated initial investment in real property improvements. But the real money actually comes when the tenants come in, because of all the servers, the chips, and all that stuff that have to go in that are high dollar. The personal property will probably be at least 2 times the value of the real property as far as capital investment. This is a public hearing required by the Texas tax code to hear from the public on whether the reinvestment zone should be created.
Thank you. Anybody else like to speak to this matter or public hearing? Yes, ma'am.
Amy Teal, 1127, East Jefferson and Whitney. This,
5 minutes, I'm sorry.
I didn't
It's
say
okay.
the time.
It's okay. I'm here on the opposite side of the county, so this is not going to have a direct impact on me. However, I need to be paying attention to how you guys progress with this, because this will probably not be the only data center that's coming into Hill County over the next 10 years. And we have a lot of rural property in this county. I guess my first question would be, do we know the name of the power plant? Who's doing the power plant?
The name of the power plant? I
What
don't know
company?
its name. Well, the company would be Nexus Energy.
So it's a Nexus power plant also?
Yeah, I can maybe help with some of these questions.
That'd be great.
My name is Jerry Schaefer. I'm the Director of Regulatory Affairs and Permitting at Nexus Data Centers. So yeah, I'm here just to kind of answer questions. It's going to be a Nexus Hubbard Power LLC. So it's a,
Can I have you come up here?
You
I was
bet.
gonna say.
I need a microphone on you.
no problem.
I would love to hear more
If you
information.
guys
Yeah.
can share the space and.
Yes, so the Nexus Hubbard Power LLC is a subsidiary that's going to be handling the power generation side of the campus. We have Nexus Land Holdings LLC, we have Nexus Data Centers LLC, and I think maybe a couple of new ones that I'm not even aware of yet. But that's the answer to your question.
Okay, thank you. I am not in general opposed to data centers. I love technology, and I understand that we need a lot of physical space to put all this information. However, there was a town hall in Hubbard on November 20th at 6 p.m. And according to the email that I received from the City of Hubbard Secretary, Nexus prohibited recording of that town hall. And then when I'm catching up with a lot of this information, and we're sharing information about this reinvestment zone and possible abatements and stuff like that, someone mentioned, I thought Nexus said at the town hall that they would not be seeking an abatement. There's no proof of what was said because recording was prohibited. So I would like to encourage y'all to at least table this until there can be a full public town hall that can be recorded, that can be shared for everybody in the county that can't make a town hall or a public hearing like this. It's a foundational problem with transparency moving forward. So I would absolutely encourage you to table this and give Nexus a chance to schedule a public town hall that can be recorded.
So I can address that a little bit. She's correct, we did have a town hall open to the public, our first one November 20th of last year. It was at the Hubbard Civic Center. We had about 250 people show up from the local population on a dark and stormy night. A really good turnout, I think. And at that town hall, we did discuss a tax abatement plan, and the idea is we would only pursue tax abatements at the county level, not at the local city level with the Hubbard elected officials. And that's the clarification. That's why we're talking with Mr. Dixon right now about the reinvestment zone, payment in lieu of taxes, or whatever program we choose to arrange with the county. It would only be at the county level, not at the local Hubbard level. That's the clarification on that one.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Megan.
breakage of lines. So I'd like to know, first of all, like, that issue. There's people with wells that, could they run dry from all of the water that's required for a data center. Also, there's been a lot of studies done that there's health issues for people around data centers and sound and noise volume that is very disruptive. And I would just like to know what's the benefit of the citizens for a data center. There's always the argument of jobs, but my understanding is very minimal. And I don't know if anyone in the local community, would get a job from this data center, because they're very high technical, is my understanding, right? So, I would like to know the benefits of the citizens of this community, especially in a rural area.
Sure, thanks for your questions. So with regards to water use, when we chose the location near Hubbard at the outset, we had to screen very carefully a number of different sites, specifically for water availability. And what we found is the site we chosen near Hubbard has sufficient rainfall every year, and the nature of the soil is very clay intensive. It's made up of a lot of places. The stormwater just kind of runs right off. And if you build something there big enough, you can capture a lot of that. So a big component of our water plan is actually just capturing precipitation. That's not going to be available immediately, obviously. We've got to build the big 400,000 square foot buildings that Mr. Dixon was alluding to earlier to start capturing that rainwater. But in the meantime, we've been working with the city of Hubbard to arrange for an agreement for 100,000 gallons per day of treated effluent as type 2 reclaimed water from their wastewater treatment facility. That'll be used for cooling. We've talked to the Prairie Lands Groundwater Conservation District about an industrial water well. We got an operating permit from that agency back in, I think, July. We amended it once in August, and we're talking to them again about possibly amending it one more time, just to increase the volume of water from the groundwater well. And that entity really looks after the aquifers closely. They don't issue groundwater industrial permits to just anybody. They have to do some serious studies on where the water's coming from, how much you're taking, how much you're allowed to take. So we've done everything as responsibly as we possibly can. We are also pursuing an agreement with the Posto Special Utility District for a municipal connection, several municipal connections along the periphery of the project, use additional potable water from that municipality. And so we've looked at water very carefully, and what the last thing we want to do is take more than we need or take it in a way that affects the local Hubbard population in any way. As we've heard from Judge Brassel and his predecessor, Judge Lewis, when we came here last April, that water is a commodity in Mill County, not easy to come by, so we've kept that in mind at every step. With regards to noise, we conducted a peripheral ambient noise survey pre-construction around the periphery of the project location back in, I think this was May timeframe. And the idea is we want to get a sense of exactly how quiet it is, what it sounds like before we do anything. And we collected that data. We're now building what's called a noise model to account for the new development of the project, the power generation, the air conditioning equipment that's going to be associated with it, so that the final design of the facility can be mitigated for noise using whatever technologies we need to keep it at 65 decibels or less at the fence line. So that's not very loud at all. Texas Penal Code, I think, is 85 decibels is the limit spelled out. We're going self-imposed well below that to keep it nice and quiet. There is a cowboy church across the road that has a gun range. You'll likely hear the gun range much more prominently than you hear the data center once we're up and running. So, and with regards to jobs, during construction, and construction I should add is going to last probably several years depending on how the business case of the project develops. That's going to be in the neighborhood of 2,500 construction jobs every year for the next several years. Permanent operations jobs, because the business case seems to be improving, we're looking at several hundred permanent operations jobs, some of which will be highly technical and will require people to relocate to Hubbard to fill those roles. But many of those jobs will not be highly technical. They'll be available to the local Hubbard population and fillable by the local folks in Hubbard. Any other questions on that?
Back to your water, do you guys have a process for recycling, reconditioning the water that you do take for the cooling the equipment?
There will be some sort of post-treatment design implemented to handle the water. The water we all used for different purposes, cooling of the graphics processing units, and possibly for heat recovery steam generators associated with power generation for steam, basically. And for that, for those processes, you need distilled water, very clean, you know. So we'll have to condition the water for those uses. And that's all to be designed still. We'll have retention ponds on the site that hold water and capture the rain predominantly, and also the well water to treat effluent municipal water.
Your data center will have a reuse system, right? It's on a circuit.
It will likely have a what's called a closed loop system. That level of Utah hasn't been 100% established yet, but that's commonly used in campuses the size that we're talking about.
And what about the health concerns?
Let's see, the noise I mentioned, we're going to keep the noise down. We will have some air emissions associated with the power generation. We have from TCQ 2 permits right now, and we're talking to them about possibly expanding that. But all of the air emissions are closely regulated at really under the Clean Air Act at the federal level, which the Texas Commission on Environmental Quality is delegated to look after. So all of the criteria pollutants under the Clean Air Act, nitrous oxide, sulfur dioxide, volatile organic compounds, particulate matter 2.5 and 10 will be closely regulated at the federal level. So we would never get a permit from those entities if we were going to exceed those levels or cause any health hazard, you know, by way of our emissions.
Yes, ma'am. Question or comment?
You want me to come up there?
Please. Would you just state your name for me?
My name's Jackie King, I'm in Navarro County, and I live very close to Dawson and Hubbard, so I just have a couple questions. So when you construct the project, it will take several years. First of all, what clients are you going to approach to occupy your facility?
Well, we're right now in discussions with
What types of clients, actually?
right. So it's a large campus with a lot of power, so we're talking to what's called hyperscale AI customers. And there's a fairly short list of those. Everybody kind of knows those names, about 6 or 7 or 8 big companies. Can't tell you exactly which ones for obvious business reasons, but that will be the main customer of the facility in all likelihood. We're also looking closely at what's called co-location facilities and edge computing possibilities for the site, which would entail a large number of possible customers. Things like, you know, DoorDash, Uber Eats. Anybody that really uses the internet could benefit from the site.
What about storage of your power? How is that maintained to power the facility? How do you store that power that you're generating?
Well, we will have what's called a battery energy storage system that's kind of a supplemental component to the campus that is intended to back up the power generation equipment. But the power generation equipment is basically intended for base load. It's like a power plant, effectively, that has one customer, which is the campus. So it's all going to come from the power generation.
Yes, sir. And what kind of, let's see, so will you have procedures in place for battery storage mishaps?
There certainly will be procedures in place for that. We, at Nexus Data Centers, all of us come from the liquefied natural gas, oil and gas industry as a background, where the focus on safety and the regulatory framework is very rigid, and you can't build anything unless you pass all of the safety hurdles along the way. We're bringing all of that knowledge to what we're doing here in Hubbard.
So it looks like they've already started doing some work out there. Looks like another friend just got employed.
Okay.
For a low-level job, you know, carrying whatever, all of that.
Oh, good. Yeah, we've actually been under site preparation since about November 10th, so it's literally our 3 months to the dot site preparation activities.
Site prep, what does that entail?
Mostly it's clearing and grading and soil preparation activities. There are, over the past week or so, I would say, an increase in truck traffic of Highway 171 and on Highway 31. And
3369.
Yeah.
and we get on County Road 3369, and so those deliveries are bringing different types of rock for soil conditioning to prepare for deep foundation.
So when you speak of grading, and the 1,500 acres, correct?
Correct.
All right, so right now, that area for decades, probably 7 grade, and when you smooth it out to suit your purposes, then at some point, you have to have a level spot. So before we get to that point, where you have a level place to place cement, or some sort of base to place your buildings on. My question is, how far down do you plan to go? How many floors do you plan to build, sub-ground?
The design is not final on that yet, but the indications are that they will not be incredibly deep foundations. I don't think we're even considering piles at this point, for example.
Well, stories.
Well, the buildings, typically, you can't do more than one story, because the graphics processing units and the things that are gonna be in the buildings are so heavy, you can't really stack them, it wouldn't be cost effective or safe
But
properly.
I've heard of some that are 2 or 3 floors down.
That's not what we're proposing. Ours would be single story,
Single story with no basement,
no basement.
and about how thick is that cement, you think, to hold your,
It does vary, I mean, it's many feet thick, because it's many tons of weight that these foundations are gonna support. But as far as, I guess I don't quite understand how you're concerned about how deep into the soil the foundations go.
yes, there's a reason for it, it's because in my county, there apparently is a 2 or 3 story, Bitcoin facility there. In addition, once you have taken out and have excavated all this soil, you're starting to create heat dome. I don't understand heat domes, but you environmentalists do. And I could look into it, my daughter's an environmentalist, so I don't know that much about it, but it needs to be understood. So it can affect the temperatures of the surrounding counties and rainfall, because it changes, the atmosphere and, how water accumulates and decides to drop on our farms and ranches. Okay, so then, that answers my question on subground. Okay, so now you've got the cement that you're laying out for really 400,000 square feet.
That's the rough building size.
Is it the first building?
The first 4 buildings.
First 4 buildings, and each one is 400 or total?
Each one is 400,000.
So 1,600,000?
Yes.
Okay, square feet of building. All right, so now you've got a cement floor, and, it's smooth, and so I know that every truck stop, including Buc-ee's, has had to mitigate the runoff. And when you put cement down, you don't have land that does this, up and down, curve around, or up and down, then you've got runoff. And so if you have 1,600,000 square feet plus of cement, because the buildings are not flush with your cement floor, they're out here for all of your trucks and maintenance and power grid, and that may not even include your power plant, is that correct?
Right, it does not, but you've really just described very well our rain capture design. Because we have all of this square footage on the roofs of the buildings and surrounding grade, we can design drainage such that rainwater is captured and put into retention ponds without hurting the local.
Shouldn't they be running off at some point? If you capture all of it, what happens to downstream, downhill to the neighboring ranch or to the church across the street? If they need water, if you capture it all,
Well,
detention or retention?
they're called retention ponds. I guess landowners in the state of Texas, to my understanding, have an entitlement to the water that falls from the sky. It's not considered state water per se. There is on the site right now what's called a soil conservation reservoir that was designed back in the 1950s and it's probably past its lifespan. No, it's called a soil conservation reservoir. Soil conservation reservoir number 6. And the USDA, Department of Agriculture, National Resource Conservation Service put these things in place back in the 50s and 60s, specifically to capture water from rain events and then hold it and then let it trickle out rather than have a big storm event to wash away the topsoil. So anyway, it's been done before. It's historically is what I'm saying. Safely.
We're
We
in
intend to do
business
it the
for
same
any
way.
runoff, that's what I'm concerned about.
Do I have anybody else here for the public hearing? Yes, ma'am. Come on up, state your name.
My name is Edith Corbett, I'm a resident of Hill County. I just have one question. Is this already approved to happen? Is there anything that Hill County can do to stop it or question it?
It is approved, ma'am. We have in hand our Texas air permits from last June. Construction has started, the land has been acquired. The local Hubbard elected officials and townsfolk in Hubbard have been very supportive of it. It's a big economic boost to the community, and yes, we're well underway.
So did Hill County have any say in the approval of the project?
Well, it's unincorporated Hill County. We work closely with local elected officials in Hubbard, of course, and local citizenry, and didn't encounter any opposition.
And so there was just one meeting that wasn't allowed to be recorded for public comment on the.
Well, it was open to the public, and as I said, at least 250 people did show up for that meeting. And we will have more. We have a town hall in May, every 6 months is the plan. We also give regular updates to the city council in Hubbard every month, roughly every month. So there's plenty of access from the public. We have a company website where you can send emails, and if you have any complaints or concerns, you can put them on the website and certainly address those. So there are avenues to talk to us directly.
Well, it drew my interest because I live near the one in Boston County. So I've done some research on it, and I just figured it was a done deal. I just wanted to hear it for sure.
I have one more question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is Hill County prepared to do if they don't uphold to their word of their regulations? Because I've seen other data centers where the noise is higher and it affects the people around. And in Corsicana, their water, this one lady barely trickles out of the faucet. So what is the recourse that Hill County will take if this company is not holding to the standards?
Well, the recourse would be to take away any incentives that they receive as far as tax abatements go, and to work with the state agencies that are over Nexus, TCQ, mainly to bring them into compliance. The water would be a TCQ issue, and so would the noise to some extent, but the noise at 65 decibels, it's like a conversation. It's like you're listening in on somebody else's conversation.
Right, but that's proposed, like, it's a lot of times different when it's in reality.
These
So I
newer
was
plants
wondering-
are built to be sound, not soundproof, but sound dampening. And I don't think you have this sort of problem, but if you did, that would be something that would come through Commissioner's Court, and they could threaten them with loss of tax abatement, and at that point, they would want to do something more.
So that's it, just the loss of the tax abatement, that's the only recourse.
Well, that's only recourse for, the noise, which the other stuff is, under state laws too, but obviously, there could also be a public nuisance action, state, if the noise is loud.
Yeah, I think since it's on private land and they acquired the licensing, the state really has the hammer on all of the regulatory agencies. What we have control over is what's in the agreement between them and Hill County. Like Mike said, if they violated that, we'll hold their feet to the letter of that agreement.
If I could just, the Corsicana facility you alluded to also, that is a crypto mining operation, and apart from having lots of computers in a building, it has nothing similar to what our project is gonna be. The crypto mining facilities, they use energy like no tomorrow, they use a lot of water, they don't do anything for the local community, and they give us kind of a bad name if you associate the two. What we're talking about is a 20-year, and they're short lifespans too. They wanna get and solve those problems, get new cryptocurrency, and that's it. we have about a 20-year lifespan at least on the campus that we're proposing. So we're building this to last for a long, long time and to do it responsibly and to mutually benefit the local community every step of the way.
You said that there's 4 buildings, phase 1, how many other phases and buildings?
Don't know yet. The business case is developing always. The country at large is in sort of a race with foreign adversaries to harness the power of AI and, as quick as we can so that we can stay on top of that technology. So the future's sort of, there's momentum in the industry right now, I would say, but it's difficult to see in the future. Right now, it's the 4 buildings.
On your next town hall meetings, are you planning to prohibit recording at those also?
I don't have any plans to do that. I haven't heard any word from our leadership on that.
Why did you guys prohibit recording at this last town hall meeting?
I'm not sure how that went, actually. I really don't know who gave those instructions or how that happened, but like I said, we're accessible every step of the way. We have a website. I can give you my business card right after this if you'd like to speak to me directly. And
Would you be willing to ask this court to table this until you can have a publicly recorded town hall?
they're open to the public, so we achieve the access required to the public. If you're interested enough, showing up for a public town hall event shouldn't be too much of a
On a stormy night, yeah.
Well, as I said, 250 people did make that effort.
And how many of them expressed opposition to this?
There were a couple good questions, like what we've heard here today. But we have good answers, so we think we're doing a good job.
I was at that town hall meeting and I don't recall anybody saying that it couldn't be recorded.
I have the email from the city secretary of Hubbard saying that the data center requested no recording.
Okay.
That's a problem. That's a problem. That's a foundational transparency problem, and that right there is one of the biggest reasons that I would ask you guys to table this.
Alright, anybody else here for the public hearing on matter in front of us today? Oh, yes ma'am. Say your name for us, please, ma'am.
Debbie Gregory, Whitney, Texas. I'm just a real estate broker. I only have a question to thank you, Your Honor, County Attorney and Commissioners. I would like to ask you what God says about this situation. Does anyone have the authority of God and what He said on this situation? Has anyone checked? I can tell you that according to the Word of God, He told the children of Israel, do not tax yourselves, tax the sojourner among you. We're flipping it on its head and saying, come on, you will give you man with no taxes. Just saying, we might be getting a little bit backwards while we're harming those who've been here 100 years. And yes, they come to me, they may not go to the city of Hubbard, but they come and say, what are we gonna do, what are we gonna do? I don't know how to help them. I can just say, this is what God says. This is what He said, pray. Ask Him to replace those among you who are doing wrong to you. That's what He says to do. So I'm asking you to not go against God's word on any of this. We've already given those abatements to solar farms, wind farms, and they have made our landscape in our county look so beautiful, absolutely astonishingly ugly. I drive past them all the time, going to the VFWs and these other events, and I find it disgusting and discouraging. And yes, I've sold land around here, and even toward Hubbard and all these other counties with wonderful lakes on them, and they were beautiful. Now they're getting disgusting looking. They're not made to be productive the way God said be productive. We have lands in more than one country that has ice and very cool. We wouldn't have to use a lot of air conditioning and water, but just saying, there's alternatives if we think outside our little box.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
My name is Ralph Porter. I live in Johnson County. But my family owns property in the Hill County, over by Hubbard, far from the project, and we also have property in Malone, the Pelham, the community of Pelham, which is in Monroe County, but on the Hill County side, we have property there as well. So my question though is, there's rumors going around that with the Nexus plant in Hubbard, there's also supposed to be another data center plan between Hubbard and Malone. And I've also heard there's another one between Abbott and Bonner. I know, can you address that, if it's true, if it's not? I've also heard there's one coming in your Covington as well.
So as far as I know, I've been approached, well, I've learned a lot in the last, since April. So since April, which is when I actually first met this gentleman, was, they came in and said they're gonna build a data center. And that's what's gonna happen. And I said, well, good luck, because we have a lot of people come by the courthouse and talk to me and say they're gonna build something. And I told them, we don't have the water, we don't have, the state says you can do it, I can't stop you, you go. Turns out they were serious. Now,
Turns out what?
They were serious.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, I've had other people come to my office and propose building, some of which were less than honest, I think. I don't know, I think they were maybe not being completely honest with the landowner. We've not seen them back. It's a up and coming, very competitive, and it's such a new market. It also makes it ripe for fraud. And so I've seen where there's maybe some fraudulent things where that's where maybe some rumors have come out of. We have not been told about any data centers in Covington. We haven't been told. There was a mention of one out towards Abbott. I've not heard a word of it after that. This is the only project that I know of in Hill County at this moment that is an actual serious project.
Okay.
Like I said, another one that we did hear about is Abbott, and I haven't heard a word since. I think they've hit some hurdles.
One more thing, did one of the ladies address the water issue? I know the community I grew up in Pelham, we've had people want to move back there, want to move in the area, and they can't get water because my sister's here, the Byron and Irene, which.
Brandon,
Okay. Brandon's where the water comes from, and they won't let anybody else on the system. So, I mean, it's already a problem now. I can't imagine if they do any of this other, construction, what that would do to the current water problem we have now.
Like I said, I shared with you, water was my biggest concern when I first met these guys. One of the things that I have also learned was that a data center is not the same as the next data center. Every one of them are different. I talked to the Taylor County judge. Taylor County.
That's where I moved.
Okay,
I'm very familiar with that.
So they have a large data center there. Built a couple years ago now.
No, it's under construction now.
Yes. Well, the technology that they're using at that one is completely different from this one. And then the Boston County Data Center is completely different from this one. And I would only go as far to venture that unless it's the same company, the same construction, the same players, it's not going to be the exact same type of center. So with this company, they're telling us, and like she brought her concerns for what is our recourse, they're telling us that they're going to capture water, and they're going to use wastewater, and they also have wells. They have multiple ways of getting water. I would venture to say that if we find out that they are not complying with our agreements, then I don't want to speak for the entire commissioners court, but I feel that the schedule would be fairly harsh in a way that we can do by law.
And that sets, the way that they're doing it, in my opinion, I think that sets a pretty high bar for anybody else that comes in with a data center. You know, the processes that they put in place and the things that they follow on the front end, very proactive to the concerns. And anyone else coming in that was serious about it, we try to hold them to that same standard.
To the extent that we can.
And
when it all boils down to it, in the state of Texas, your land is your land. And, so that makes it difficult for this governing body to govern what you do. I took most of your time talking. Do you have any other questions? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Does Hill County have a rural fire marshal? Who substitutes for a rural fire marshal?
So, a fire marshal is a peace officer, and we don't have a fire marshal. We have volunteer fire departments. The city of Hillsborough has a fire marshal.
Do you utilize the Hillsborough fire marshal on occasion?
I don't think we've ever, the only time I've ever interacted with the Hillsborough Fire Marshal was during arson death investigations. If that makes sense.
With the city for rural?
But no, we don't generally use the city fire marshal. The county has not established a fire marshal, department, nor do we.
We have ESD one.
ESD 1 and 2.
Do they have the same capability as the state fire marshal?
I don't believe so.
They're peace
Okay,
officers.
that's all, that's all, thank you.
Any other public comment or question? Yes, ma'am. Step up and state your name.
Melissa Autry, I live in Rankin, Texas, and I just have a question because my family moved down here almost 20 years ago, raised our family in a quiet life, life of living on a farm, and I don't really understand, I don't have a problem with people selling the land to you to do something, but I don't understand how it can affect everyone around you when you say it's an acceptable noise, it's an acceptable amount of water, when you're saying that you're gonna take water out of the creek because of rain, or you're gonna, you were saying the noise would be no more than a conversation, but my husband and I bought 95 acres, so we didn't hear your conversation. And you're saying that we don't actually have the right to say, right now, we live 2 miles off a paved road, it takes us 30 minutes to get home because of construction. And they said, oh, it'll stop eventually. But I have teenagers who are being run off the road, I have teenagers who can't come home because of somebody's decision to sell to somebody that we have no vote, hearing for. And I understand the farms make the decision, but my question is, would you live next to your building? Would you bring your family and live next to that building? Because they're telling us it has a lifespan of 20 years. Well, I'll still be here, my 6-year-old child will still be here, but you may not. And so why would we decide, I think that's wonderful, a 20-year investment of traffic, of noise, of lack of water. I mean, you're taking resources from the community and then saying, I'm not gonna let you record it. I'm not gonna let you have a vote to what's going on around you because it's private land. But I'm of the generation, you can't smoke in public anymore because it harms the people around you. And it's not, well, it's a little bit of smoke. It's, you cannot smoke. So I don't understand how your company can say, this is how much noise it produces, and it's okay, because my cow's not gonna think the same thing, my goats are not gonna say the same thing. I mean, we train dogs with whistles, so how is that noise level affecting livestock? And how is taking water from the creek, from the runoff rain, affecting people who water their livestock with it? If it's dry, then what are those farmers gonna do? I mean, you can't get more water. And I'm in the same boat with Vernon and Irene. It's $32,000 to get a meter. So my son graduated college, and he can't live at home because there's no water. And people are just talking to me, and I'm not trying to dissuade anybody, but I'm going, it is affecting us, and it is affecting a lot of people in our area, and they're upset because why don't we have a vote? I mean, if you pay taxes on the land and you buy the land, and then, my husband, his favorite thing in the world is the view of the sunset, and now he won't be able to see that anymore. So why is that not being taken into consideration? And not just by you guys, I mean by everybody. And to stand up here and say, oh, it's a great thing, we'll bring in, what did you say, 100 jobs? So you're selling, our life livelihood and our lifestyle for 100 jobs. You know, who makes that measure? I mean, there's more than 100 people that live out there now. I mean, I have 11 in my family. So 89 people are more important than the resources of my family? I don't know, I don't really understand how, you know, I know it's a business, but people actually live there. And that's what I really don't understand is why there's not more voting and more laws and you know, representation, because I think that there are things that purposely and unpurposely done that harm us, that we don't vote on. So that was my 2 cents. Thank you.
Can I ask one last question specific about the agenda item itself?
Yes.
I received 6 different agenda abatement guidelines when I asked about what would this look like. And this might be something that you guys can get into more in discussion, but what kind of money is being looked at to be abated when this is fully built out?
Well, so today there's no discussion about abatement at all.
I know, but it's specifically for abatement, so we might as well address it while you got a public hearing.
We can't because it's not on.
We're discussing specifically the reinvestment zone for that piece of property. The way it is very specific on our agenda.
Would allow for tax abatement agreements to be entered into.
Correct, and then we will have.
So we just don't know what kind of tax abatement agreement. Can you share what the expected tax revenue would be?
That's being negotiated right now.
Well, I don't.
Will that be public though? I mean, will the public be able to weigh in on that abatement?
There will be a public.
Because if they've started construction, why would you give an abatement at all?
The public hearing will be, there will be a public hearing before any approval of the tax bill.
Are they planning to build a data center even if they don't get an abatement?
I don't know, that's a question for my leadership. An abatement like what we're discussing here is not uncommon for a project of our scale.
I know, but if it's a do or don't, then this might be an opportunity for a don't.
So he's not going to answer any abatement questions, and nor will our council answer any abatement questions because they are in a negotiation. So by him saying, "Yeah, we're going to build it anyway," well, guess where our negotiations go? We're not going to give you anything, or vice versa.
That's kind of my point right now.
I understand. That's why he's not going to answer your question.
But that first step is right here, which goes back to not approving this part.
Right here, the first step is the reinvestment zone.
Right.
You can't even have a conversation.
Exactly.
Without
Exactly. This is where you stop that.
So, what is under consideration right now is the reinvestment. Is there any other public comment or questions? None. Any online? Around? Okay. We'll go ahead and move to 17, which is close the public hearing at this time. Number 18, discuss their action on the creation and designation of the county reinvestment zone made the subject of the public hearing as the county reinvestment zone.
You have a copy of the order on the desk here. So you can see that it just essentially describes the zone and identifies the zone name.
And for the record, that order is not in the packet. That is online.
Again, before any tax abatement, there'll be a 30-day notice posted, and there'll be a public hearing before any award of the tax abatement.
And if this fails, there is no public hearing and no abatement.
Designate the Hill County Investment Zone number 21.
That's a motion from Commissioner Lake, a second from Commissioner Hawkins. 21, discuss our action to set and install traffic control devices in the form of a 30 mile per hour speed limit sign from the north end of the pavement, and then 3050 to 191 County Road 12. Skip 19. Is that what I just?
Yes, you're on, there's another hearing.
Oh, number 19, open a public hearing, set and install traffic control devices in the form of 30 miles per hour speed limit sign from the north end of the pavement, from 3050 to 191 County Road 12. Anybody here to speak to this traffic control device? All right, close the public hearing now. 21, discuss our action to set and install the traffic control device in the form of 30 mile per hour speed limit sign from the north end of the pavement, FM 3050 to 191 County Road 12.
Motion to set and install the traffic control device on the kilometers, speed limit signs from the north end of the pavement off of FM 3050 to 191 HCR.
Have a motion from Mr. Holton, second, Mr. Hopkins. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? Number 22, pursuant to section 551.087 of the Texas Government Code, the Commissioners Court will meet in a closed /executive session to discuss or deliberate regarding commercial and financial information that the Commissioners Court has received from a business prospect that the Commissioners Court seeks to have locate, stay, or expand the county, and with which the Commissioners Court is conducting economic development negotiations and to deliberate the offer of a financial or other incentive to the business prospect. That's it. It'll take about 5 minutes for the server to clear out and turn off all the
340. Yes, in fact, yes, I can, because unlike Nexus, I don't have a problem with it. I am. You have something to do with you. Yes, I am a council member. So this is just going to be and always hearing it
I've had some communication with you through the rescue bird. How do you get?
And they're gonna go into executive session, I'm sure you're aware of what we do on the
So I
camera.
need to move my camera.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
How do you get a copy of the meeting agenda?
Yes, sir.
The meeting agenda is posted online already. They did not include the order for this reinvestment zone in their public packet. 53 pages of everything else except this thing.
And so what did they decide on the commissioners making a committee for the rescue group?
They decided to move forward with that. And I believe they're taking applications now, and they'll probably set up a, set it on the agenda for appointing people to that.
I'm not in town, so I can't come to the council meetings, but I see they're always empty, which is very concerning. And the school district ratings very concerning. Thank you for everything.
You bet, you bet.
Ma'am, I want to ask you, are you from Hubbard?
I am in Whitney.
In Whitney. She's from Whitney too. Okay. So I live outside of Hubbard. Okay. So I never heard about the meeting.
Well, would you like to tell the camera all of your ideas about what you think of this?
Well, I don't really have any. I mean, we're just kind of in the wondering stage and don't know what's going on.
Well, yeah.
How this can affect all of us. I can just tell you from a daily perspective of driving around.
Well, yeah,
and seeing all the additional traffic on our farm to market road where I live. And, you know, we lived through, about 3 years ago, we lived through construction where we finally got it up and nice, and now we know all these trucks are gonna mess it up, and then we're gonna go through it all over again. I mean, that's just one little thing.
So yeah, so right now they've got this thing where they're in negotiations about an abatement, but
they're already built.
If Hill County
wanted to stop them from building and knew that not providing an abatement would stop them from building, then no negotiations would be necessary, and this would not be necessary. And they could have voted no on this, and then the data center would have had to say either we're going to build and pay us, or we're not going to build. And so, you know, at some point, now, I mean, I am an eliminating property tax person. I would love to see abatements for every single person. You know, however, until then, we're stuck with this system.
So where did you get this was the agenda for today?
This is, I'm going to put it in front of the camera here. Not only is this the agenda, it's the agenda packet. 57 pages about all the different items that are on the agenda, right? And so they have stuff like there's the certificate, here's the treasurer's report with numbers, here is a letter about stuff, here is another letter explaining information, here's the proclamation that they talked about, you know, here's more about the salvage surplus property, all kinds of stuff here, except for this public hearing, this reinvestment zone. He said, did you see the order in front of you? The judge mentioned that to the Commissioner's Court. You see the order in front of you, what we're approving. It's not in here.
What order were they talking about?
About issuing this as about designating this as a reinvestment zone.
But so did they have a piece of paper with it on there?
Yes, they did. They had an order. They had an order in front of them, but we didn't get to see it. That's another problem. They obviously had the order, did not include it. They were able to include all this other crap in here, but not for the reinvestment zone order.
That's a lot.
So yeah, we will not be seeing transparency on this project. Not with the Commissioner's Court and not with Nexus.
I mean, they're surrounded. Where I live, I feel like I'm being surrounded by not only the data center, but the wind chargers and the other things.
Yeah, and this is the Nexus website. So if you want to see what they're going to have, it's right here. They have a picture of the kind of things that they do.
Gigawatt.
This is what's going to get built out there in the Hubbard area.
Interesting.
That's it.
A lot of big old buildings. We shall see, huh?
Yeah, we're gonna see. Yeah.
I want to go over and talk to this lady. I think she's from Dawson.
Yes, that's Jackie King.
Oh, you know?
Yeah.
But they also probably.
What our presentation options are. Bring a laptop, the presentation on it. Share all the screens.
To educate, because I don't know what AI is going to do for checking. They're not our
Tell you
But if you look on the CAD, county appraisal district map, on the first
You do that.
So, the county appraisal
Just drop in both, I mean.
and that's basically across the street, like steel bridge, and one of the sons is 67. Well, but he's got a son.
Yes, his third
What are things that you would have done?
And then first there,
And just for $5.
So I got a drop line set up on the back porch, I got outlets that come across. And you can go in and go out. Until you go on 5:30, 11. That's the big one. I got that's a long, small transmission there. And then volume, well, that's what it's named, but it doesn't have an engine. But it, no, there it is, right? There you go.
And I read, if they were, no, this is still, well, the reason I left her over on my, and this took 15 years, right? And it was this. And I never, we're on Friday on that one.
Make sure she needs to go home. That's her problem. Because she has somebody else digging.
You can also stay with like some place apartment. It's things that when you can drive because you can go back to the property. But it's for first. Yeah, my mother, my grandfather still lives there.
Albert does repairs.
Oh, yes, I remember, I know it's not Albert, I'm not Albert.
He lives over here. I mean, he's living in North.
Yeah.
So he lives.
Yes.
That's right. So when he was still working, that's right.
I got a question for you. Down the line, that if you
downstairs, underneath the stairs.
If you can find in that cemetery anyone who was a freed slave that's buried,
The historian,
there you go. And then you're talking about Hill County and buried, it's still here.
family cemetery in Hill County.
Once they get it fixed now, there's gonna be a way to put a flag at the front of that cemetery that says, this cemetery has freed slaves buried. To the historical commission.
But they're not, they're trying to find out.
Designated. Because here in Hill County,
Of cemetery?
no,
Of slaves.
buried. Most of the cemeteries.
That's because their bodies are being desecrated.
These are all graves, and for many years, I'm wondering will they kick to the ditch or? They got to be buried somewhere.
Yeah, it was a lady that was at Texas A&M, she had a project going, and she was,
Freeman community.
have you ever looked on that? And she was documenting communities and cemeteries. She's no longer at A&M anymore. Freeman College?
I think it's community foundation, or Freeman Community. I forget what it's called.
Texas Freedom Colonies Project.
That's it.
Texas Freedom Colonies Project.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. No, they did.
So what I would do if I were you, through her website, through the Freedman College and Freedman Community. So you know what a Freedman Community is? Okay, they're all over. And that's what I know. Yep, right there, there's a Freedman Community. So almost every Freedman community has a cemetery. Like, I can tell you the ones that I know all around here, there's one in Florida, there's one in Antioch, which is also in Durham County. There's one in Babylon, which is one toward you. There's a community in Babylon there, that is different spot right now. But it used to be a Freedman community right outside of Dawson. And it's still in the industry, I'm sure it is. I would look up Freedman communities.
What's that called? There was one, and there's a cemetery there. You know where Salem, Iran is? No, not. But up from.
Just south of that. So I can tell you where it is. So you know where the community of Irene is? And the intersection was 308. And then what's the road that goes to the
171.
And then what's the one that goes from Milton to Irene? That intersection.
You don't have to come back in.
You can, certainly.
I did. You can find something else. Just got a question or two. Absolutely. We're talking about item 22. We can override the state financial information. To deliberate the financial or other incentive.
Recording in progress.
All right. Item number 23, we're going to reconvene back to a regular meeting. It is 10:30. Same day, February 10th, 2026. So number 23, reconvene regular meeting, discuss and action needed as a result of this executive session. I don't think there's any action to be taken, so that will move us to the last thing.
Okay, lady, thank you for coming out to Hill County. I'm going to hit stop now. Oh, a relocation vote to get them out of Texas. That's interesting, Robert. I see your comment down there. That would be interesting. That would be a state level thing, though. Contact your state reps, your ledge critters, and they're all on the ballot starting next Tuesday. All right.
No pressure.
No pressure. Yeah.